Hello, everyone, and welcome to the showdown between the Tomb Kings, led by Ark in the Black, and the Wood Elves, who are going to be led by Ranged Glade Lord. So let's jump right into this match, guys, and have some fun. So in the front line, I do have a very heavy core of Tomb Guard. And I definitely think the Tomb Guard are a pretty solid pick in this matchup. Firstly, they do have Silver Shield, so against Starfire Shafts and Way Watchers and things like that. Granted, your opponent probably isn't going to be shooting or focusing these guys. It's still nice to have as a backup. On top of that, 32 melee attack, 41 melee defense, and 42 weapon strength is usually enough for them to trade, effectively, if not, well, they do beat Eternal Guards, if I'm not mistaken. It's sustained combat, but it's going to be pretty solid, and hopefully they can beat the Eternal Guards and then advance to take on other threats. So that's pretty much it in the front line. An entire group of 4 Tomb Guard, 2 groups of Skeleton Spears on the flanks of my army. I do have the Nehekar Horsemen in the back just as a utility. And with 38 weapon strength and a charge bonus of 25, if they have not Way Watchers, but War Dancers or things like that, these guys are pretty good. And if they don't have those type of units, if they just have Eternal Guards, you can pressure around the flank. But oftentimes what I found is they just kind of get melted by Way Watcher and Wild Riders and things like that. But I figured just bringing one to keep my opponent honest wouldn't be a bad idea. And here I do have the Undead Roomba. So the DJ is here, he's ready to party. And this thing, has good range, and I figured that the range would be pretty good against Way Watchers and Eternal Guards and things like that. And on top of that, it's going to give me the Covenant of Power. So the Covenant of Power is going to make it so Ark in the Black gets additional recharge rate. So I can get more Fate of Bunas, more Spirit Leeches, things like that. And Fate of Buna is pretty good against not War Dancers, but Wild Riders and things like that. So hopefully it'll work out. We'll see. Ark in the Black on his Chariot, Spirit Leech, and the Chariot is faster than the Horse. The Chariot actually has 84 speed compared to the Horse, who has 66. So having him on the Chariot, I think, is a little bit safer since you're really needing to avoid, the Way Watchers and the Prey of Anathrama and all that kind of stuff. So we do have him on the Chariot with the Tomb Blade. 2 groups of the Ushapti Great Bows, and, I think they're decent. I mean, they don't really shine, but I like that they have 255 range, so if I do eventually discover their Way Watchers, I can then outrange them. I can kite and fight. In worst case scenario, with 100 armor and pretty good weapon strength in melee, they can do pretty well against Wild Riders in melee. So I'm hoping they'll perform. 2 groups of the Carrion, or 3 total, and then also some Skeleton Horsemen on the far side just to pressure the back line. But he does have ample defense with Wild Riders and some other stuff like that. So I'm actually playing against John Ton of Total Brohammer. Make sure to go check out his channel. And we were both just we kind of agreed that this is probably the hardest matchup in the entire game for the Tomb Kings. So we really just kind of tinfoil hatting a bunch of theories. But honestly, I feel like this build, isn't shabby. So for his build, he does have the Eternal Guards in the front line. He does have 2 groups of Way Watchers, which are just the scourge of the Tomb Kings. These guys can just mow down Tomb King Lords. They can kill your constructs. They're so tough. And I mean, he only brought 2, but a lot of people on ladder bring 3 or 4, and they can just put in work. They can take your troops to Pound Town. You can't really counterfire them because they have stock. So definitely probably one of the most powerful units right now. Glade Lord here with Prey of Anathrama. 2 groups of War Dancers, so 1 here and 1 on the foresight, or Wild Riders. Sorry, I always get those confused. Eternal Guard, some Glade Guard with Starfire Shafts. He does have some Azurai Spears in the back, and that's pretty much it. For his magic, he does have Shadows, which is solid. Enfeebling Foe. Melkos is very good against Tomb Kings, slowing down whatever you want to catch or doing damage to Tomb Guard, whatever. And then also the Pendulum, which is super gangster. So kudos to John Ton for bringing out the Pendulum. So without further ado, guys, let's get this show on the road. So I didn't obviously see those guys, so I came in to get some, I thought free fire on the Sisters of Thorn, but unfortunately I do have to pull back. So you can see that the Chosen of the Gods, the Ushapti, are going to be scurrying back. I do get my my birds over here, so the angry birds are flying overhead, so I was like, I can't see those Way Watchers. So let's waste some of their ammunition, fly overhead, and then that's going to allow my Ushapti Great Bows to start shooting at him. So the Ushapti Great Bows are going to be setting up shop, and now I can finally shoot since I have sight on him. It probably won't do the most damage, but I need to wear them down over the course of the game. And you can see the DJ is raining some sick beats on him. You can see the Casket of Souls is going to be coming down on the Way Watchers right here from my casket. Doing some pretty good work, but the Carrion Shield is getting melted. So Way Watchers can shoot 360, but the Ushapti, like I said, not doing badly, but they can shoot 360. So if they want to, they can shoot the Carrion out of the sky from pretty much any direction. And you can see the Sisters of Thorn, a really good utility here, actually using their buffs as well as their just ranged attacks to take out my Carrion. So right now at this point, I'm just going to go all in, just sending my Carrion on these Way Watchers. And I do send 1 group of Tomb Guard up. I was like, let's just see if he doesn't have the, if he has Fire at Will turned on, so they would waste ammo on the Tomb Guard, but it didn't look like he did. But every second, he's occupying, focus fire here, but look at that. He does get some really good focus fire on Arkin right there. So knowing I might just, get prayed and beaten down here, but that's just 1 volley, and Arkin's very, very low. Not low, but, takes a lot of damage. I use the Liber Mortis to give him some physical resist, and it's actually not going terribly. The Way Watchers are taking a little bit of damage from the Ushapti Great Bows. My Carrion are all in here just, mucking things up, but unfortunately, it's going to be a short-lived solution as he's able to get his Way Watchers or his Eternal Guards and some of his other troops in here to pin these guys down. So in the meantime, I do try and slip my Nehekar Horsemen into his DMs right here. I'm going to try and get into these Glade Guards with the Starfire Shafts, but John Ton has Azurai Spears. He has ample protection. His Wild Riders were able to chase down my Skeleton Horsemen in the back and just give him the business. But Ark in the Black, I can't. This is also another thing that's really tough about this matchup. you can't send in your Lord. If I send in Archon to try and get a Fate of Buna, which I really wanted to do, I had it, I just couldn't, because the second you come in range of a Prey of Anathrama, you just get gibbed. Like, I'm talking just like massacred by the Way Watchers. And Starfire Shafts, I mean, all that stuff is really, really good, but the Way Watchers are the main culprit here. So the Tomb Guard are doing really good. I mean, you can see they're holding up here, fighting these Eternal Guards, probably racking up some decent kills. And this is great, because it's holding them in place and allowing my Shopti Grapos to trade somewhat effectively, but Jonton forms a very good shield wall here. So he has the Starfire Shafts, so I decided to send some Tomb Guard in to kind of muck them up and hopefully be able to get through that eventually, and I do pull back my Great Bows. The Casket of Souls in the meantime is going to be dropping some sick beats right here on these Way Watchers, not making the most contact. That was a pretty horrible miss, but I do still have some troops on auxiliary, so just kind of really slowly working my way in. You can see I did get one Fate of Buna right here on these Wild Riders, was definitely very solid. But, I've had trouble getting another one off. And you can see the Glade Lord is lurking danger close to Archon right here. So all it takes is one slip up. If you slip up once against a good Wood Elf player, they can then get the Prey of Anathrama, which he's probably going to be doing on Archon right here. And a very good Pendulum from Jonton right there in the front. I do get that Fate of Buna off, which is going to be super super awesome right here. The Spears are going to get in there maybe. Yeah, maybe they'll be able to catch him. But look at this. So I get Prey of Anathrama. Thankfully, the Way Watchers are a little out of position, so they can't quite get me. But just a couple of these missiles right here are able to just dumpster Archon, so anytime you come in, you're just massively threatened. And the Starfire Shafts do fire damage, if I'm not mistaken, so they're going to get 25 additional damage. I do pop the Libra Mortis to give him the 44% physical ward save, and I do scurry back up the hill. As far as the overarching sense of the battle goes, it's pretty darn even at this point. If anything, it favors Jonton just a little bit, but I still do have the Ushapti summon, which is going to be good. I've gotten some okay damage on his infantry. You can see these Wild Riders are running for the hills. And the DJ in the back is actually dropping some beats, like I said before, on these Way Watchers, and they're getting kind of low. The problem is they still have a lot of ammunition. So, well, I guess that's a good and a bad thing, because it means they haven't been firing, but also that they have a lot of firepower coming your way. So Archon is just incredibly low right now. I can't, so at this point in the battle, I just can't go on the side of the battlefield. It's just too dangerous. I have to sit back, kind of protect my back line, maybe use Fate of Buna on some of these guys, or Spirit Leech, and you can see the Wild Riders are going to be coming in. So they're charging in right here. I do have the Ushapti Great Bows, who get a couple nice spray shots right there. They do have the Shield Break, which is going to be pretty good. And I decided to just pull them and send them into melee, but the Way Watchers are now shooting at them again, which is so rough. My front line is kind of getting compromised. Since I can't have my Lord over here, like, fighting, he's able to, kind of dominate the front line with his Glady and the maneuverability of the Wild Riders and Sisters of Thorn, who I would like to be casting Fate of Buna and pressuring in other ways, but ultimately, a lot of my stuff's just been melted. And now the Roomba is just getting punished, so well played to Jonton, securing his front line, and even though the Way Watchers were under a ton of pressure, he did a really good job of getting these guys, like, in position here, and it's just wasting my Casket of Souls. You can see the DJ's just, playing some drum and bass, trying to get out of here, but he's got arrows all in his back and his casket, and everything's looking pretty grim. So I'm just kind of kiting and fighting with the Chosen of the Gods, just shooting at these Way Watchers, trying to bring them down, but they kind of have a bit of a loose formation. So I found that the Chosen, the Ushapti in general, aren't able to trade terribly effectively. Jonton also gets another Pendulum. Looks like it got a bit of a hit there, but the Tomb Guard have been solid this game, like, really holding. I mean, I still have some fighting. I did also get a Ushapti summon here, so I'm able to take some of these Glade Guards down, doing some pretty good HP damage. And honestly, the Ushapti will do very well against Sisters of Thorn as well. But they do have 50% physical resist, so it's not going to be great, but they will be able to do some damage probably. So in the back, I was expecting a little bit of fire on this guy, so I did use the Vigor or the Libra Mortis to give him the physical resist, which is very nice. But the Way Watchers just have that inexorable advance. They're just pushing forward. He has his Glady here, so a single Prey of Anathrama, like, I wanted to come forward and use like a Spirit Leech on these guys to bring them down, but I knew if I came close, Jonton had his hand on the trigger. He was just waiting with his Glade Lord to get me. But the Ushapti Great Bows, if you're really on top of your micro and kiting and running back, like, you can wear down the Way Watchers. And after this experience in this game and playing against a couple of very high-level Wood Elf players, I think the Ushapti Great Bows are decent, but I think you just need to generally change the build. Maybe just like get like 3 or 4 of them, like play a very concavey, very like wide build with a ton of cav and skirmishing. Maybe that's the way to do it. But regardless, you can see here I'm getting that DJ fire right there into those Way Watchers. But most of my frontline troops still doing okay. I mean, the Wood Elf forces are very tattered. The Glade Guards are beat up. Most of his troops here, aren't in the best shape. I think, though, the real big issue is that, the Prey of Anathrama plus the Focus Fire from the Way Watchers is just, and, Glade Guards is so, like, destructive. Like, I couldn't get Archon in the front line. I couldn't get Spirit Leeches and Fate of Bunas on his cav, which would have been very helpful over the course of the game. And you can see that Archon the Black is able to, really, really take that down. But Jonton's a very good player. Like, so he's not going to slip up. Like, as soon as I mess up once or twice and get caught like that, he's really going to punish me for it. You can see here my constructs are going to be chasing the Way Watchers. I figured let's pressure them in melee, but at this point the game's pretty much over. So very well played to Jonton. He had great cav micro. He was able to deal with my carrion. He did a great job dealing with like the Nehekar horsemen and some of those threats around the flank. But I'd really, and one of the big reasons, we played this was to try and figure it out. And I wanted to talk to you guys about what you think would be the best solutions. Let's put together our collective minds I'd love to see some thoughts in the comment section below about what you think would work. I think maybe going with 2 Tomb Guard, just Skeleton Warriors, maybe going with like 4 Ushopti Great Bows, like going really wide with that, and just scouting with Carrion, trying to pick off the Way Watchers with range, not engaging with your melee, just pulling back, every chance you get, and, maybe using Fey to Buna a little bit more defensively and forcing them to attack you might be the way to do it. Like, play that really long game with the Great Bows and just attrition. And also on top of that, Ark in the Black is very susceptible to Focus Fire. And we did a little bit of testing in another game after this, and we found that the Tomb Prince, so you put the Tomb Prince on a horse, and then you give him or the Tomb King, and then a Tomb Prince with him to give him Guardian. And he's really hard. Like, the Wood Elves can't snipe him like that. It's really, really tough, and it can go to the long game. So I think the Tomb King plus the Tomb Prince plus maybe an Ehekar caster to give additional physical resist can really help with the sniping. It'll be super, super micro intensive, but I think it could be something in the right direction. So maybe like the DJ seemed to work okay. The Great Bows were really solid. Tomb Guards did good. Maybe just like 2 and some Skeleton Warriors. Get some more Ushopti Great Bows. Play more defensively, perhaps. And, another thing we talked about was like the Screaming Catapult. Doesn't seem the best either. We've been experimenting with that, but it never gets more than like 10 or 20 kills. But yeah, maybe that would be something that would be decent. So very well played to my opponent, John Ton. Very, very solid play from him. He was able to kind of use his cav to secure himself, and then was able to kind of just trudge forward and take out my goodies. So very well played to him. Make sure to go check out his channel, Total Brohammer. So he runs it with his buddy Sakarma, and they do a bunch of tournament games. And, he's a very high-level player, like top 50, top 100, if I'm not mistaken. So he's really, really solid. Definitely go check him out. So thanks again for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this battle between everyone's favorite Cackling Necromancer and the Mighty Wood Elves. Have an excellent night, and take care.